Welcome to Leap into Livestream. My name is Dawn Chubey, and we are going to help you and your business navigate scalable and sustainable future for your business, whether you have a physical store or are direct to consumer. I hope you find value in this podcast. Please subscribe if you do, and then I can continue to bring on great guests like today's guests. Chloe Thomas, she is a renowned figure in e-commerce and in marketing, as well as sustainability sectors. Now, she is also a best-selling author, a keynote speaker, and the founder of E-commerce Master Plan, one of LinkedIn's top retail voices and the top 30 most influential marketers. Yes, she made the list for the UK. Chloe, super excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us all the way from the UK. We're on like opposite ends of the time zones.
It's very cool to be here. Thank you so much for the invite. I think live stream shopping is, I find it so mad how behind we are in the West, because it's an awesome marketing channel. But so I'm really excited to get to come on and talk a little bit about it with you.
And really, I did want to talk to you because you have such vast experience and you offer a lot of support for businesses as they navigate their future in e-commerce. So before we dive and really head into that rabbit hole of live video and social commerce, tell me a little bit about yourself and your business and why you are who you are doing what you do.
Well, just a small question to get started with. So I've been in e-commerce for 20 years now, 20 whole years. Started off working client side, managing catalog mailings, got obsessed by digital and ended up being head of e-commerce for a group of mail order brands. Then I ran a marketing agency for almost 10 years. And since getting rid of that, I've been trying to help e-commerce brands and the people at e-commerce brands make better decisions about their marketing, their tech stack, and what they're doing and their strategy by kind of inspiring them and guiding them. So these days, I primarily host podcasts, chair panels at things. I've written a few books, and that's what I do the great majority of the time these days.
Well, I do appreciate a bit of a consultation that we are going to share with my listeners. And once again, for anyone who loves this content, definitely worth subscribing. I'll also post the links to Chloe's podcasts in the comments. But I do want to talk about live stream shopping. And when I say that, Chloe, I really mean any kind of commerce on camera. So even though shoppable video might not be live, that's okay. We're going to talk broad sense on new ways for businesses to connect with their customers. But I know you have a great emphasis on sustainability and in business and in marketing, I'm going to assume, which I think live stream shopping really is.
We in our industry have the responsibility to help consumers buy better. So that's to help them to buy the right product for their needs. And I think video shopping, live shopping, however you're doing it, is a great way of doing that, because you are helping the customer understand the product. If it's fashion, you're showing them how it moves. You're answering their questions live. So they're not going, oh, I think that will be all right. It might be a bit short, but I'll buy it. And then they get it home and it doesn't quite go over the band of the jeans. And they're like, oh, and then it lives in the cupboard for 5 years, or it gets a return, or any of those kind of carbon intensive activities or carbon bad activities. So I think there's that element of live shopping that fits with sustainability. The bit where it could become a bit of a problem is video files are heavy. They're heavy old things. So if we're building up server loads of last year's live shopping videos, which unless you're selling, this is going to be a terrible example, but it's on a stapler, which doesn't go out of fashion. The how-to video of the stapler might still be useful, but I think that's one of the things we're having to now understand as marketers is the carbon impact of what we're doing. And I speak as someone who currently has her team going through about 800 videos from virtual summits, trying to work out how many times we've got them saved across YouTube, Dropbox, computers, and all the rest of it, to go, is this of any use to anyone anymore? If only 10 people in 10 years have watched this on YouTube, does it actually deserve to be there, or should we delete it because of the carbon? So I think that more interactive, more meeting the customer's needs, more 360 selling experience can be a really good one for helping customers buy the right things. But I think we also have to be a little bit mindful of how long do we leave those heavy video files sitting in server farms around the world. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I think I agree with you. I think I agree with you.
Well, yeah, you're saying to someone who's got like thousands of photos on her phone and Dropbox and iCloud and I don't know, Evernote, and 100%. We also have to clear out our digital clutter and
Definitely.
free up some of that bandwidth. But even from the standpoint of being able to reimagine fashion into a different closet, I was speaking with a Poshmark seller the other day. She purchased one of my courses because she wanted to be the best Poshmark seller in Canada, and I thought that was such a neat way to be introduced to what I offer. But in doing my sales call with her or strategy session, she was sharing how she actually her store is only reused, I guess, or
Hmm.
almost like vintage Lululemon. So it's not new.
Yeah.
And she hosts a live stream shopping event on the Poshmark platform. And it's like you're in a store, and she can offer great opportunities for people to shop one of their favorite brands at a fraction of the cost. It's a really exciting sort of way for not only again larger businesses, smaller businesses, but just the average person that maybe wants to make a little extra cash and connect in new ways. Which ultimately, when we talk marketing, Chloe, I mean, we're talking about sort of spreading the word to the masses with the hopes of
Hmm.
some sort of return. So you would have seen over the years a massive change in how marketing is done essentially. Where does live stream shopping fit into the sales funnel of things? Because I don't think it's in one place.
No, I find it quite a fascinating one to try and mull over. Where does stream shopping fit? I think it partly depends which channel you're doing and what you're doing to drive people to it. I think for smaller brands, you mentioned big brands and small brands there. I think for smaller brands, live stream shopping is a way they can accelerate the growth, certainly in the early stages, and get a march ahead of the big boys. As the example you were just giving of the secondhand seller of Lululemon, that's just that I'm assuming that's a relatively small business. It's a founder-led business. So she's got the opportunity of building a community by going live with those early buyers, those early advocates. And at that point, I think it's more of a bottom of funnel thing, because you're taking people who are bought in, the early adopters, you are telling them what the products are, making them building trust with them very, very quickly, because it's almost certainly you, the founder, on the video talking about actual products and then getting those sales coming in. And that, I see time and time again, the small businesses that survive and thrive the most are the ones that build community. And community it doesn't mean having a Facebook group or somewhere people can actually log in. It's about them feeling a connection to you as a business. And if you, the founder, can get in front of them once a week on video to talk to them and to talk about the stock, to be honest, to show the reality of yourself, then that's a great way of accelerating community. So I think in the early stages of a business, it can certainly be a very, very good bottom of funnel tactic. But then you kind of go up through the levels as a business gets bigger, and it can become more of an awareness builder. It can become more of a first initial interaction with the business, and then it can be a really, here's the product, we've only got you get almost TV shopping style, which I can't tell you anything about that, but you get TV shopping style, which we've only got 5 left in, we're taking £5 off it now, and you get that very, very transactional. So I think it's like, right, one of my biggest frustrations in marketing is that people go, I need to do live stream shopping, I need to do Facebook ads, I need to do email marketing. And that's the wrong thing to think. What you should be thinking is, I need to build a better connection with my customers at the beginning of their journey with me, or I need to make a better connection with customers to get them to convert. We've got loads of people on our email list and they're not converting. What can I do? And then you go, oh, an answer to that could be live stream shopping. Let's try and do an exclusive live stream session for the people on our email list and see if that way we can convert them. So I think it is one of those things where it can, like most marketing methods, it can be at any point in the funnel. We've just got to use it in the right way and understand at which point we're using it to make sure we're using it at the right point and in the right way to make it deliver for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think to that point, you can have different goals of what live stream shopping is, which again, whether it's that awareness or the actual conversion, it is the connection, it is the building of the loyalty, it is being able to address concerns. And with that, access data on what your customer wants. I don't want people to think that this has to be a massive undertaking financially or time wise, but
Mm-hmm.
like anything, you get from it what you put in. So, out of the gate, do you need to hire a production team or subscribe to the enterprise version of whatever live stream shopping software platform you're choosing to go with? No. But I will say, when we look at, for instance, Spree, I was chatting all the way to Denmark the other day about what the potential is and what they have seen. And with their platform, they see upwards, sometimes up to 60% conversion. Now, we're talking versus who's watching. So if you have 100 people watching, that means maybe 60 people placed an order. If you have 10 people watching, which is possible,
Mm-hmm.
that means you have 6 people placing an order. But you have to start thinking of this as, I think, Chloe, a cumulative effect. Out of the gate, you've got to decide, what is the goal for today. If you want to acquire new customers, live stream shopping can be one of the least expensive ways to do it, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like you can go live with a Zoom call, you know, and you can go, oh, here's this product. Oh, she's using all the stationery in today's video. Here's this product. Here's the link in the comments to go and get it on the website. It doesn't have to be any more complex than that. So you can start with essentially almost zero budget. And I think something which I was taking from what you just said is the optimization process. So often I come across people in e-commerce who have done they've gone, we're going to test this, and they've done it once. They sent one email and it didn't work. They did Facebook ads with $100 for a month and it didn't work, or they did something once and it didn't work. And I think live stream is one of those areas where there are so many facets, so many kind of levers to pull to work out how you get it to work. Which products do we need to do a discount? Who do we get on the call? What technology are we using? What's my background? Am I very slick? Am I a bit haphazard? Do I pretend they just caught me hiding in the warehouse? Or you've got all these kind of content decisions to make, style decision makes. Do you go live for 30 minutes or for 4 hours? On TikTok at the moment, you need to go live for 4 hours. It's like that's a marathon. I'm not sure I'd be up for that. Who is the person doing it? Is it the founder? Is it another member of the team? Is it a fan of the show? There's so much stuff to test. For me, I think people are making the mistake of doing it once badly, and then
Yeah.
it not learning and not optimizing the whole process.
And I think the other mistake is thinking that you have to be perfect. So
Mm-hmm.
when you would have started your marketing journey, and obviously the marketing strategies of the past are still the marketing strategies of the today. They just evolve with technology and, again, with information and the way the world works. But there was always so much focus. I was, again, bringing up Spree, and I was talking to Corey Morris, who is the chief marketing officer, and we were talking about all the emphasis on like a very polished website,
Mm-hmm.
which is very important without question. But we don't want to offend any of the e-commerce managers out there, but there is also perfection in the imperfection when it comes to leveraging the talents of maybe an ambassador, someone who's just naturally a fan of your product, or your store employee. There's benefits to that, and there is that authenticity. We hear that word, and it almost became a buzzword when it was featured as one of the words of the year. But the reality, all we're talking about, Chloe, is genuine and real, and that's with products, right? This is your certificate of authenticity for your diamond ring or your baseball card. And then it's also the genuine and real. Like, you and I chatted before I pressed record on this podcast, and I hope I'm the same person. You definitely seem like the same person.
Really? I thought I'd turned on show Chloe, to be out here. But yeah, it is, isn't it? It's like I often think one of the biggest compliment, I do quite a lot of stage work, hosting panels at big conferences, delivering keynote speeches, that kind of thing, and a lot of stuff on webinars as well. And I think one of the, as well as all the podcast stuff, and I think one of the biggest compliments someone can pay to you when you're doing that kind of thing is to go, when they meet you, is to go, gosh, you're just the same. You've not turned into someone completely different. Obviously there's a little bit of pepping yourself up for doing those things, but you're still, it rings true. There is that authenticity. And I think a lot of brands get hung up when it comes to doing video, thinking it has to be as perfect as the best TV shopping channel, as polished as, a BMW advert on the telly. It's like, no, they're tuning in for the real reality. Whether you're putting a video out on Facebook or whether you're doing a live stream, it's about that authenticity. And for some brands, that will be running around the warehouse. For some brands, that will be going around a physical retail store. For some, it will be in a mini studio holding things up to the camera. And it's going to differ from brand to brand, but until you get testing it, you're not going to work out what actually resonates with your audience. And you may well find out they want it more shabby or more slick than you think.
Oh, well, let me tell you, when I first started in television, I was always, I'm sure you can probably see this in me just for the few minutes we've chatted, given that I went from broadcast to TV home shopping to founding Live Selling School, but I was always an early adopter. And so I was one of the first, you'll probably remember Periscope, right? That was kind of one of
Oh,
the first
yes.
live stream options, and it was
Mhm.
attached, I think it was to Twitter,
Yeah, it
back when
was.
we called it Twitter. And I remember bringing, I had my phone, and I was showing kind of behind the scenes, where you saw the cables and you saw the messy corner and someone's chicken sandwich on their desk. And this was all in the studio. And again, I work for, a nationally recognized television station. And I remember getting my hand slapped essentially, like, don't do that. We don't want people to see we're not perfect. And B, if you stream live, like even us actually broadcasting with my phone propped up on a little whatever tripod or whatever, um, they're not going to watch the show. And I said, kidding me? They are absolutely gonna watch the show. You know why? Because I'm attracting a different audience with my personal platform, driving awareness to our broadcast, and you might be on the radar to somebody who never even knew you existed. And now, of course, fast forward, Chloe, where appointment television, like it's literally like a fingers crossed. We hope everyone tunes in for the 6 o'clock news because that's old news now,
Well, yeah,
right?
and the growth of, you can't have a hit TV series without a podcast of people talking about the hit TV series at the same time and sharing secret behind the scenes things. I mean, yeah, how bizarre to think that if they when all of us, we all want to know what's going on behind the scenes of the things we
Right.
love the most.
But now, of
Mad.
course, it's part of the job, Chloe. Like, and my
Mm.
point in it is what used to be a hand slap is now part of the job description. So it is fascinating to see, for me in particular, how everything has evolved. And it is really curiosity that a person has about a business they love but don't understand, or seeing somebody who normally is fully made up in TV makeup stripped bare and showing you their flaws. And there is nothing that sells product that solves a problem more than the person who is presenting it, showcasing they too have the problem and how that product maybe has helped or a similar product can help. And to me, that's the power, Chloe, in what live stream is. I was looking on, I think it was Modern Retail News, and there's a brand called Steve's Leaves. I think they're somewhere in the US. I just read it today, but they are leveraging live stream shopping to sell plants. Like
Yeah.
every industry is up for grabs here.
What's the thing? I mean, it was just when you were saying that, I just suddenly thought we haven't used the word story yet. And storytelling is so huge, such a huge trend in cutting through all the noise to get through to the consumers at the moment. And the thing which video gives you, especially when it's live video, because there's that, I think there's that lower expectation of slickness and perfection when you're going live. It feels a bit more real. It feels a bit more authentic because it's not going through the editing suite. But you've got that opportunity to tell the story. If it's Steve's leaves going, so this plant is great for being in your bathroom because, but if you're not very good at remembering to water it, don't get this one, get this one, and you start telling the story of the reason why we sell this is, and you can do that with fashion, you can do that with staplers, you can do that with plants, and it gives you that time to tell the story of the product and how that connects to you, the person on screen, and your brand. And that's what consumers want. They might not, write in a survey, I want more stories, but that's what they're responding to, and that's what they're getting. That's what builds the community. And I'm not sure there's a better medium than video to do that. And I'm a big fan of text, I should say. But there's also, the live piece, the extra authenticity bump that you get from that is just so powerful.
Yeah, and the real-time interaction. So and I'm just gonna say Steve's Leaves, they're getting a great plug. I'll have to try to book them on the podcast here. But the reality is it's also an opportunity to educate your customers and for them to ask questions in
Mhm.
real time. For instance, maybe they are a past customer. Maybe they're not buying today. That's okay because guess what? The representative, the salesperson, because that's who they use, is able to say, "Well, here's why your bamboo is dying, based on what you've told me." I say this because I am probably the only person in the world that can kill bamboo. So that's why I use that example. Yeah, storytelling, real time engagement, the repurposing. And this, when we talk from a marketing standpoint, of which you are an expert at, the fact when you create this content once and live, you now can, when we talk about the sustainability factor, sure, maybe one day you delete all of the big live feeds, but from it, splice the top nuggets that can end up on your e-commerce page as additional educational and content that is converting.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like creating video content is harder work than creating graphics. It's harder work than it is creating text. But if you're doing lots of live stream, you're going to get bits that are going to work as adverts. You're going to get bits you can repurpose to put on your YouTube channel to then celebrate in your email marketing, to put as how to's. If you've got, I know tents is coming to mind, I don't know why, but camping equipment, it's that time of year, I guess. If you've got a shop that sells camping equipment, you're like, oh, we really ought to get round to doing a how-to guide to how each of these different things, because people keep asking us, and we haven't done the video yet. Do it on a live stream, and then splice it out and put that on the website. Then you've done killed two birds with one stone, and you've created the right content. And if you're doing it, if you're lucky, I was really doing it well. This is not necessarily a judgment on how well you're doing it, but if you're getting the interaction at the same time, then you've also got customers asking you questions. So it's better than man in a field filming himself. It's if you've got customers going, oh, hold on, how does that bit work again? Then that becomes a much better, more powerful piece of marketing for the product page. So it can help you tick a lot of marketing boxes if you're clever about it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of leftovers. So, and in food and in, and in content. For sure. When you were saying that, and just really just a few more questions here because I know your time is valuable and often paid for. So thank you for providing all of this insight for e-commerce entrepreneurs and small businesses who have very little budget. So we appreciate
Mhm.
it. But let's talk a little bit about some of the measurables and some of the data that we should be looking for because being let's just be honest, we are not seeing the traction dollar-wise yet in the West that we're seeing in China, for instance. And obviously, we're talking about massive populations and 8-hour live streams. Until we catch up from a standpoint of what justifies um, in the mind what you think you should be making, considering also your investment in it possibly is really low, but we like comparing, right? What
Mhm.
kind of data should we look at right now and call it a win to keep us incentivized to keep going?
Well, I think 101 has to be, are you getting people turning up to your videos and are they interacting? when you're doing it live. And that that sometimes whether they're interacting or not is a measure of you and how well or badly you are performing. But once you, as you get used to it and you get used to how you're doing it, that will then become a measure of what does the audience actually want to know about. So in the early days, you're definitely learning about what you should be talking about in this format, what messages are getting across, what style is getting across, what type of content is working. So I'd definitely be looking at interactions. I would 100% be tracking. So I talked about, doing it on a scrappy platform, lowest minimum viable product approach from day one. Even if I was minimum viable producting, I would want to have to know who'd signed up, who'd clicked through. So whether that's because you're only driving it from your email and therefore they have to click and you can see who clicked through at the right time, or whether you are making them sign up for it individually, so it's more almost like almost a webinar format in B2B land. I would be keeping an eye on who was registering and who was turning up, and then looking at how their sales had changed over a period of time afterwards. So you're getting the interest levels, the engagement on the actual videos, and then you're looking over the longer term to see, are these customers starting to spend more with us because of all these softer metrics that are going on? Because it's still quite a new way for consumers in the UK and the US and the rest of the West to be buying, and they're still bit reticent to necessarily take action, but it's a hugely powerful piece in getting them to go, oh, okay, I get what you do now. I'll be back. So I'd also make sure you were doing follow-ups with, if you missed it, here it is. Really sweat that content because it has taken you effort to put it together. So I would be looking at all the marketing around it, engagement, interest, however you can manage to track those, as well as then over time sales.
Yeah, I mean, what's new is new. And so for me as a pioneer in this business, from a standpoint of educating not only small business on how they can, from pitch to presentation, including the tech and all the opportunities, educate them, but also how to sell through the screen, how to describe and demonstrate in a way that allows a customer, what I like to say is see the feel. A product that they can't touch, taste, or try on. How do you make their mouth water? How do you have them fully understand how soft something is, because soft is such a subjective word. You might think a Brillo pad is soft, and meanwhile, I'm talking about the inner ear of a Labrador puppy retriever, something that we can all relate to and sort of envision and then decide for ourselves if that is soft enough. So, final words here when it comes to navigating e-commerce, and I know this is a big question because you have I think it's 3 podcasts that help with the optimization, your master plan,
Mm-hmm.
and just the idea of exploring e-commerce. But any advice, like maybe your top 1 or 2 things to do today, to make your mark in the e-commerce industry, but something that will hopefully sustain you. So you create the plan once and you can kind of work with that for a little while.
I'm a big believer in the should list and the could list. Okay. So the could list is everything you could do. And right now, that list for any business, and I think even worse in an e-commerce business, is massive. And you should be working to increase the size of your could list, because so much is changing at the moment. You should be tuning in to get inspiration from other business owners, get insights from channel experts like Dawn and others. So you're getting to grips with what my options actually are. That becomes your massive could list. And then if you want to succeed, you've got to do the difficult bit, which is going, what should I be doing? What out of that massive list of could things should I actually be doing? And like with live shopping, if live shopping is something you should be doing, you need to decide, you need to commit to it. Anything you're going to should do, it's not do it once and give up. It's go, right, over the next 6 months, we're going to commit to testing this. This is where we're going to start, and we're going to see how we optimize that. And whether that's live shopping or it's email personalization, or it's a new website, or it's optimizing the whole of your tech stack, whatever's on that should list, you need to make sure you've got the bandwidth to actually commit to and measure and do. And so it's a mixture of building up the could list, but then being pretty hard nosed about what makes it over to the should list. And what's on that should list is going to be different for all businesses based on your customer, your product, your bandwidth, your stage of business, what you find fun, because you're allowed to factor that in as well. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Well, and that's why Chloe Thomas is one of the top 30 most influential marketers in the UK, and of course, a top voice on LinkedIn, which is where you and I connected. I am so grateful for your time today, Chloe. If anyone wants to work with you, learn from you, can you share a website? Where should we direct everybody?
Sure. So the easiest place to find me is LinkedIn. Just search for Chloe Thomas, and I should be fairly easy to find on both sides of the pond. I'm quite easy to find in the UK. And should be quite easy to find in the US as well. So just search for Chloe Thomas, you will find me. Add the word e-commerce if you need to. And then the website ecommercemasterplan.com, that's where you will find all the other stuff I'm up to. So search for Chloe Thomas on LinkedIn or go to ecommercemasterplan.com where you'll find the podcast and the other things I'm up to.
Worth listening to some of the back episodes of the podcast. I know your January podcast is always one of the top ones that e-commerce
Mhm.
entrepreneurs listen to. And of course, it's one of the ones I listen to, and so much more. So please do that. Subscribe to her podcast and the Leap into Livestream podcasts. I will continue to bring you more details on upcoming programs for small businesses and those that want to learn the art of live selling. So, Chloe, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.